Get ready for Sonia, Teresa, Vanessa, Bettina. Come on. Say what? Come on. Say what? We got bam, hot topics. We got what the fudge. So bring it on. Say what? Bring it on. Say what? You got questions. We got the answers. You wanna chit? You wanna chat? You wanna talk about this and talk about that? You're in the right place to hear the facts. Bring it on. Say what? Bring it on. Say what? The ladies are bringing the conversation. So join us on Say What across the nation. Bring it on, y'all. Say what? Come on. Say what? Bring it on. Say what? Come on. Say what? Bring it on. Say what? Come on. Say what? Bring it on, y'all. Say what? Come on. Say what? Bring it on. Say what? Come on.
Welcome, 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 welcome. It is Saturday, 2 p.m., and it's time for the Say What podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so happy to have you with us today to enjoy the conversation at the table. Ladies, you look beautiful and wonderful to see you. How are you?
Just wonderful.
Amen, 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 amen. Awesome. So we are so glad to have you with us today. And God, we can't go anywhere unless we bring the word of God into the conversation. And the bishop is present and accounted for. Bishop, Miss Sonia, what is it that thus saith the Lord?
Well, let's see what he is saying today. You know, he speaks to us every day. Sometimes we just don't want to listen to him. But
Amen.
I'm going to be reading to you Psalms 138, verse 8. And I think, what translation is this? The New Living Translation. Excuse me. The Lord will work out his plans for my life, for your faithful love, O Lord, endures forever. Don't abandon me, for you made me. And so today, when praying and asking God, what word did he want to share today, he gave me this. And he just wants us to know that, we don't have to worry about what he's doing in our life, because he cares about the concerns of our life. Because guess what? He already know what the purpose is for our lives. And oftentimes we get so anxious and boggled down by, Lord, what is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? And oftentimes we're already working in our purpose. We're already operating in our purpose, and we don't realize it. We tend to want to gauge what we're doing by what God has purposed someone else to do. And he's just letting us know that, his perfect love is there for us. His perfect grace is there for us. His perfect mercy is there for us to get us through whatever it is that we are going through. He wants you to know that he will not allow you to fail if you keep him first. He wants you to know that he will keep your hopes. He will perfect the things that you even hope for, as long as they align up with him. And when this week I was doing a Bible study, and in the Bible study, I'm going to read a quote. And I'm not sure which one of the authors wrote this, so I'm not going to give the name of the person, but I want to read a quote from the Bible study this week that aligns up with stepping into your purpose. We adjust our lives to God, so he will do through us what he wants to accomplish. God is not our servant to adjust his activity to our plans. We are his servants, and we are to adjust our lives to what he is about to do. If we do not submit, God will allow us to follow our own devices. In following them, however, we would never experience what God wanted to do on our behalf or through us for others. So he just wants us to be mindful that our lives have to adjust to what he is doing. He's already operating in the kingdom. He's moving in the kingdom. He's healing. He's delivering, whatever it is. But we have our own agendas, and oftentimes they don't align up. They don't align with what he has purposed for us. So he wants us to be reminded that we don't make the plan and ask him to adjust. We adjust to what he is doing.
Wow.
Amen.
That's a major word right there. I like what you said at the beginning. Sometimes you're trying to worry and figure your way into, I want to be able to do God's will, and you're already doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You're already into it. Vanessa, what are your thoughts about what Sonia was saying.
Besides choking over here, she is absolutely, she is absolutely correct. The problem I think with society today is we think just the opposite of what you just said. My plans, he should align up with my plans instead of vice versa, because I know more. And he's showing us, okay, you want to do X, Y, and Z, I'm gonna let you do X, Y, and Z. I'll let you bump your head, do whatever you need to do, but in the end, you will come back to me. Every knee shall bow. His word is not a lie. He's not a man that he can lie. God knows all and sees all. And in the end, we will line up with him one way or the other. We can either do it willingly or we'll do it kicking and screaming, but it's going to happen. So that's a good, simple word. It's a hard word for some, but it's
For most.
for those, for those who know the Lord. That's a good word.
Absolutely. Miss Bettina, / what are your thoughts about what Sonia was saying?
Well, I'll just say, in the words of the wise Douglas L. Branham III, that would be my son Trey, if we don't acquiesce to God's solicitation, things will not go well. Point blank period.
That brother is so deep.
Yes,
Acquiesce.
Isn't he?
Yes,
He is just, acquiesce. Okay. Teenager is acquiescing. Okay. I'm just floored. The brother is so deep.
I'm not
Yes,
mad
But
at
I
him.
love what he's saying. He said
I'm
we
not
got
mad
to
at him.
align ourselves with him.
Absolutely.
And to that point, real quick, Bettina, a woman is going to have to align to his level.
No, she's going to have to acquiesce. Okay.
Oh no, I don't know about that. They're gonna have to meet. How about that? They're gonna have to meet because I'm not mad at him at all for acquiescing.
Yes, Vanessa. Yes, they're gonna have to meet because he can't. Yeah, no.
But
I'm sorry, I
again,
digress.
I like that he holds that standard high. We gonna have to step up. And that's what her son is saying. We have to step up. We have to accept that this is what God is saying, and we kind of. But it also helps us not to worry. I hear so many times of people, I want to be in my purpose. What's my purpose? What do I need to do? Hurry up. I need to do. And what Sonia's saying, that the word is saying, you don't have to worry. There's no reason to worry. What I took heart in a long time ago is Jesus said, do not worry. I mean, you can't be more direct than that. Just do not worry. And I think our world is kind of struggling with the idea of worrying. So that simple word kind of brings it in for us to see that we don't have any reason to worry. So very good. Thank you so much, Miss Sonia.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Miss Sonia. And as we bring people in, we want to say hey and welcome, Miss Alexis, Miss Sally Lambert. Thank you for listening to our show, and we're glad to have you on the show. So, Miss Vanessa, tell us what's going on in this world.
So what's going on in the world today? What isn't going on in the world today? We should probably change that to what isn't going on. You probably have fewer topics. If I went out and looked for what isn't going on, it would probably, what's going on is like this. What isn't going on is probably looks a little more like this. So
exactly.
What's going on? COVID, the Delta variant is what's going on. And it's, front and center right now. A lot of the red states, which happens to be in the southern states, are being hit hard. And that's because a lot of Southerners refuse to wear masks. That's also where the vaccination, the percentage of people who are vaccinated is lower. It's the lowest in the country, and it's starting to show. And even though people are dying and hospitals have been pushed to capacity, there are no ICU beds in certain states. Pediatric kids in Dallas, there are no beds for the pediatric kids in Dallas. I mean, but people still don't understand this variant is serious. I saw on Facebook someone posted that all the scientists, doctors, the researchers, everyone's saying that the Delta variant, COVID, is serious. Everyone's saying that it's serious, but yet you have the people who barely pass science and math and things of that nature, classes of that nature, are telling you it isn't, and I don't need to wear a mask. You know, who are you choosing to believe? And again, this variant or COVID in itself has shown the dumbness in America. To me, that's my opinion. It's just pulled out some of the dumbness, you know, the ignorance that we have here in America. I mean, you have the opportunity to save lives, but yet you choose because of your selfishness, because that's what it is. You know, it's my right. Yes, it's your right, but at the same time, if you can help somebody, why not? And you know, that's just my PSA and that's my opinion, ladies. I'm gonna get off my high horse right about now, but that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts on this?
Sonia, what do you think?
Well, I was on a prayer call this morning, and one of the ladies shared a word that God gave her, and it was simply disobedience. God uses scientists, doctors, different ones to bring a healing, to restore land, the things that we pray for. But what good is it going to do us if we're not obedient and obey as he tells us the laws of the land? And so even though some people are making it a law, some are not, he also, it goes back to what I've said many times before, he also gives us wisdom to make, to make the right decisions. And my hope is that we continue to pray for this nation, that we really, as I go back to what the scripture said, is that we look at what God is doing around us, because he is moving and he is doing a thing and he is healing even in this season. That if we look at what's going on around us and then begin to join in with what God is doing, I feel like that that COVID is already defeated. I just believe it in the name of Jesus. And I'm not moved by what I see. Yes, there are a lot of people in the hospital. There may still be people dying from it. But at the end of the day, God is still victorious.
Amen.
And I just feel like what he is doing is greater than what the enemy is doing in this season, even through this disease. And I just pray that the saints, because what you have to understand, some of the decisions that are being made and some of the things that are happening, these people are not believers. And so the way they do something or respond to something is going to be totally different from the way a believer will or should do. And so I just put my faith and trust in God. I just believe that we will overcome this. I feel that it's unfortunate that some people will have to lose their life over ignorance. And I keep my eye on the prize. I keep my eye on God. I mean, I look at the news and I'm like, okay, Lord, so what do you want us to do? And that's what he wants us to do. Ask him, seek him. Lord, what do you want us to do? What should I be doing right now? Where should I be right now? Should I be saying anything? Or like, for instance, just this morning, we should not have to pay people to get a vaccine. I'm sorry. We have these incentives going on right now that we giving people money to come and get a vaccine. So in one sentence, you will say, well, I don't want to do this for whatever reason. But then when they start dangling $1 in your face, all of that goes out the window. So still stand on what you believe. If you don't want to get the vaccine, do that. But that lets me know the heart of the person, because they're confused and they don't know what they're doing or talking about. But when somebody starts say, I'm going to give you $100 to get vaccinated, and you just throw all your values and everything that you thought about the vaccine out of the window, that tells me what's going on in the heart of that person. And so they're just going along with whatever the status quo is. That's why we have to be careful who we listen to. And we have to keep our eyes on God. And I was starting to say, I went out this morning to do outreach with my job. And that's why I brought it up, because we had people, when I say there were thousands of people out there lined up to get the $100 to get a vaccination. Yes.
Really?
Yes. Out there in the heat, no one was complaining. Do you hear me? Because you're about to get $100. No one complaining.
Wow.
So
I like what you said. That's the thing. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying that shouldn't be,
No.
Just do it because, for your safety, for like Vanessa said, for your safety and for the safety of others. And if you have a medical reason or whatever reason, even a spiritual belief of why you don't want to do it, then stand on your convictions, but don't waver.
Yeah, I like what you said about the fact the values shift when the $100 is involved. Remember, some of them in Ohio they had tickets to win $1 million
Right.
or
Yeah.
something like that. But again, it tells the value of the person because
Absolutely.
all of a sudden it shifts
And it,
when
and
the
it,
money component is added to it. Yeah,
and it shows the lie that they're projecting as to why they're not getting it.
Mhm.
absolutely.
Because if this is why I'm not getting it, then this is why I'm not getting it, and no amount of money is going to change
Very
that.
dramatic. Exactly.
Absolutely. Miss Bettina, what are your thoughts?
It just begs the question: how much do your principles cost? That's all.
Yes.
That's how
Come
much do
on.
your principles
That's it.
cost? And you have school systems over here, Henry County over here, where I'm a signed up substitute, is offering $1,000 once you get, I guess, your first and second shot. I can't remember everything I read about it, but for substitute teachers, and then by December, whatever, you'll get $1,000. It'll be an incentive, $1,000. I guess you'll get in your check, and it just begs the question: how much do your principles cost? Because here
Absolutely.
you have scientists, and I mean scientists who are trained to study the
Mhm.
science and believe the science. Never mind what your religion, never mind what your political affiliation is. The science speaks for itself, right?
Yes.
And so the moral of the story is you have who have a political belief and they have scientific knowledge, and they still will speak against the scientific facts because of their political beliefs, because they're standing on their political beliefs. People that I love dearly and people that I know that are sending me videos showing basically saying be vaccinated in schools over here in Henry County that's already closed and they haven't been open 2 good weeks.
Exactly. It's just sad, and just to watch how things are going with this when it can be avoided. I mean, you want things to be open. You cried and complained because things were shut down, we couldn't open, but you're not doing what it takes to keep those things open. And God forbid we have to go back into a shutdown. I guess it just will be uh, it won't be good if we have to go back into a shutdown because your rights are being invaded because you don't want to take the shots that you can take to avoid from being shut down, but you don't want to be shut down because your rights are being invaded. It's just stupid. Anyway, lastly, Erica Baidu. Did you all, President Obama had his birthday party, a scaled back birthday party. Initially, it was supposed to be 600 people, and he scaled it down to 200. And he had a big tent in the yard. They showed it on the news, and evidently, no one under the tent. They were not supposed to be recording. But Erica Baidu, I think hers is the only piece of recording that they have on the inside of the event. So she was recording him dancing with her, the singer Her, Her, H period, E period, R period. But anyway, she recorded it, showed him dancing and whatnot. When that was evidently against policies. Now she's on an apology tour. She's apologizing to the Bahamas for being a bad guest. Now, I don't think you want to be on that list. I think you can be on many lists, but I don't think that's one list you want to be on.
She was calling Tyrone.
She
Vanessa,
was videotaping.
I hate see. That's exactly what. No. I think she better call Tyrone. He can't use President Obama's phone. You understand what I'm saying? That's
Exactly.
a hot mess.
I absolutely agree. I think
And the worst part is she knew she was wrong. She knew she was wrong when she was doing it. And
exactly.
every celebrity that has a part it has just scratched Miss Call Tyrone. You better call Tyrone from their list.
Well, I don't know. I think she's going to be scratched off of the guest list going forward. I don't,
Just rude.
But also, I'm like this. That's why when you're doing certain things, you don't just invite people for the sake of inviting them.
You
Because
better preach.
myself, if I know that if I have an event and I say to you all, this is what's going to happen. This is going to be the protocol for the event. This is what I'm asking that you do or not do. When I invite you, I already know your heart. So I trust that you're going to honor that. And so sometimes you have to be careful of the people that you let in your inner circle. Because I got people that at work, we cool. Go to lunch together, know things about each other, but you're not coming to my house. I don't let any and everybody come to my house.
So Bettina, right then, she needed to call Tyrone to come get her, because at this point, she gonna be blocked in a second if she ain't already.
So I wonder if that one should have been on the guest list from the beginning. I'm just saying.
Well, we gonna leave that alone. Miss Vanessa. Yes, leave that alone, Vanessa. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. We're done. I don't know. I guess you just scratch her off the guest list. I do want to make a quick mention. We have President Biden has pulled out our troops, or most of our troops from Afghanistan, and the Taliban has begun to surge. And in a matter of a week, a couple of weeks, they have taken, I think, over 60 to 70% of the country. And so President Biden has decided to send at least 3,000 more soldiers over to join the 600 who were left there to protect the embassy. So just want to keep those soldiers' families in prayer. Keep the Afghanistan, the people who are fleeing. Keep everyone in prayer over there, because that situation it doesn't look good, and I'm not sure how that's going to turn out. But we just want to keep everyone in prayer. Bettina, I wanted to get your thoughts on it since you're ex-military on that as well.
So, I'm apparently having some technical difficulties with my delays. Okay. Anyway, as a military person, I listen, we have rules that we have to follow. We don't always like the rules that we have to follow. We don't always like the orders we are given. As long as it is not an illegal order, you follow the orders and you do it, as long as you're not hurt body, life, limb, or otherwise. Like, for example, a commander can't give you an order to shoot the person beside you for no reason. That's not a lawful order. So you follow lawful orders. And if there's orders that you have to follow, even many of them that we did not agree with ourselves, we follow those orders because we raised our hand to support and defend this against enemies, foreign and domestic.
Okay. I thanks for that, Bettina. I wanted to bring in a guest that we have on the show. I'll bring in our first guest. This is Mr. Mbaba. Good afternoon. Hello, Mr. Mbaba.
Good afternoon. How you all doing?
Wonderful.
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
Very good.
So Mr. Mbaba is the president and CEO and founder of the Africa's Children's Foundation, of which both Talisa and I are current board members. And I wanted to bring him in, to spotlight the foundation because they're doing great things in the community, and especially during COVID when things were shut down. And wanted to bring him in so he could tell us a little bit about it, just to spotlight the foundation and tell us a little bit about an upcoming event that we have in November.
Okay.
Again, thanks, Mr. Mbaba.
All right. Thank you so much. And would you permit me to call you Madame Vanessa? And Madame Talisa? When I do that, folks laugh and I say, well, it is our culture. When ladies are of certain age, we address them properly as Madame. And for me to be fortunate to have these two Madames to serve on the board of the organization that I started, it's been an honor and it's been a great thing. But I was listening earlier and I saw the energy from all of you on the issues that are important. And I want to commend you for that, and just to keep it going, because somebody said something to me one time, and it was very, very sad to say, if you want to keep something away from Black people, put it in a book. And I said, what? I mean, so, and I don't know how much we even listen to news or avail ourselves to podcast activities like this that inform our community. So keep it up. So I'm very honored to be on your platform to talk about Africa's Children's Fund. It's a non-profit organization registered here instead of Georgia, based in Atlanta, and have some chapters in other countries outside of the country. I started the organization 28 years ago in 1993. And of course, I always say very fondly that it's not my organization. I just happened to start it. And so I'm very honored to have people who work alongside with me to continue to further the mission of the organization, which is to provide assistance and services to children and families in need in the United States of America, in Africa, and the Caribbean. And let me break that down a little bit. In United States of America, we concentrate our services right here in Metro Atlanta. We do our programs in 5 counties, in Gwinnett, Clayton, Henry, Fulton, and DeKalb County. And what we do in these 5 counties is basically providing rental and utility assistance. We know that there are times in our lives that things may be rough and people are in need and they're late on their rents, and especially when they have children, it is very difficult. So our organization had included this among activities of our mission to help. So we've done this since 2000. We've done book distribution to African countries, 16 countries to be exact, since 1994. And we've also provided scholarship to children here and also in different countries in Africa. So we've carried this for 28 years. And when the pandemic hit last year, it was something we never planned for, we never thought of. But it also turned out that in the time of great need, we also found great favor. We managed to receive much more resources that we badly needed to address the needs. So over the course of 28 years, we have provided assistance to over 221,000 children in 17 countries, including the United States. And since the pandemic struck last year, we have provided rental assistance, utility, and even mortgage to households that impact over 8,000 households, 8,000 people in this Metro Atlanta. And specifically in Clayton County, our organization is the only organization that handles all the eviction cases for the county.
And that's important because of that eviction moratorium that they just, I think, extended. You know, a lot of people were holding their breath because they thought that they would be evicted. And it's good to know that your organization, your foundation, you know, was out there to assist them wherever was needed. And Africa's Children's Fund has been doing great things for years, and you could see it throughout Atlanta, throughout Georgia, and throughout the country, and in Africa and the other areas that you mentioned. And as I was telling the ladies, I wanted to also bring to our listeners to just highlight the event that we have coming up in November at the Bentley. If you could tell us a little bit about that as well.
Yes, and of course, as I indicated earlier, last year we didn't do a fundraising event that we typically do every year because of the pandemic. And since we normally do this in November, and we hope, even with the current surge in COVID-19 prevalences, we hope that maybe November might be a little safe. But even then, we are putting in place some precaution to allow for more social distancing. We actually are doing reception at the Bentley. Because of the COVID-19 issue, we're moving the event to Hyatt Regency, Atlanta. And we're going to use a ballroom that typically hosts about 1,200, but we're only planning for 400 people so we can space out the tables and so forth. This event is very important for us because it helps us to raise the dollars that are discretionary that we can use without more stipulations like the government grants would. And especially even in our local community, we do have some families that are still in the process of getting their documentation, like green card, like citizenship. If they face eviction, the dollars from the federal government cannot help them.
Mhm.
But the compassionate people that donate to us, we can help them. And it would be awful for somebody to be in our great country and because of the papers and they wind up being homeless. So we've taken into account all these issues and then structure fundraising activities to raise those dollars to help. So the event is going to be on November 7th at the Hyatt Regency, Atlanta.
Okay. Okay. How can people get in touch with you, Victor?
You could visit our website at www.africas with an S, children's with an S, fund.org. Or you
Okay.
could simply call us 770-365-5626.
Okay.
And
Great.
you can be able to purchase tickets to attend the
Okay.
event.
Wonderful. Well, thank you
And we're
so
going to
much.
put that
We're
on the
gonna make sure
website as well.
Right. We're going to put that on our
Absolutely.
site.
Absolutely.
So again, thank you for being part of our show. We appreciate you. And we will make sure that that information gets out to everybody. Okay.
Thank you very much for what
Thank
you
you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So we got a chance to meet Victor. And a lot of people sometimes get confused when they hear the title, Africa Children's Fund. You think it's just Africa. So what we liked about it so much is that he's actually helping people here as well as in Africa.
And
So
the name of the event, if I can interject just quickly, Talisa, the name of the event was an evening to remember. It's a fundraising event for the foundation to continue to provide all the wonderful services that he just mentioned earlier on. But as he stated, it will be at the Hyatt Regency, and we will have the reception at the Bentley. But the event itself will be at the Hyatt Regency, and again, we'll have all this information on our Facebook page and on our website.
Absolutely, absolutely. So quickly, what the fudge, Miss Bettina? What the fudge?
Yes, it will be brief. So feel free to just go ahead and show it because I have one statement because I got a phone call from a very specific person about this. So feel free to just show it.
She getting phone calls, Lord.
I know, right?
Jesus. She getting phone calls, Lord. What we gonna do? Here we go.
Oh, that's just wrong. I don't even want to put on my glasses for this. Really? Really?
So I'm just going to say this. We can on to our guest. I received a phone call from one of the Oompa Loompas' wives, Miss Lily Loompa, and she asked if she could get her lingerie back. That's all she said. And she asked me what was she doing in her closet.
That's all I got to say. I can't even. The fact that it's bright green is scaring me. It's just, and I see that. I literally could see that walking through Atlanta Hartsfield. That's the scary part.
I can too. So, that's the sad
part. Yes. So we're gonna leave that alone because that's for another day. We're gonna talk about that.
I can't see that.
Nobody can unsee that because that's just a hot mess. So as we are talking today, our subject today is, making our steps into purpose. Sonia so wonderfully said earlier about, how God helps us to recognize that we're already operating in his will. And sometimes we worry too much, but we wanted to have a conversation with somebody that would help us actually understand what it means to just step into your purpose. Miss Chavonne Stewart is an accomplished author, publisher, as well as a great person. We were on her show and we wanted to have her on our show today. She has a business called DNA of Diversity, a podcast that she has, and we just wanted to bring her in to share with us how she made those steps into her purpose. Miss Chavonne, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, ladies. Good afternoon. I'm still laughing because you know that what the fuck kind of threw me. I wasn't expecting that one.
We try to give some space in between when we're gonna have a guest on and the what the fudge, but today it just kind of ran like that. So I'm sorry. So Miss Chavonne, tell us about your beautiful podcast.
My podcast is DNA of Diversity. I'm going to be honest, it's on hold because life and writing a dissertation, I have had to put a whole lot of stuff on hold. But when I did the recordings that are out there, it's just topics on leadership and inspiring entrepreneurs. My heart is just helping people to see what it means to be a good leader. You know, we have a lot of people that say, oh, I'm a leader, I'm a position, I have titles. But God has allowed me to look at these people and just look at people in general and say, okay, they're lacking something. So my purpose, hopefully, is to train the people how to be better leaders so that they can thrive in whatever organization that they're in.
Absolutely. And I love how you do that. Actually, things that I do outside of, being on the show and doing other things. Leadership is so needed. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times when we work in various jobs, from the bottom down, we kind of feel things down there. And most times when we have meetings, we talk about fixing ourselves there. You mm-hmm. have to start from the top to the bottom. Mm-hmm. You cannot come in the middle and decide that you're going to make some changes. Mm-hmm. So how did you, and because I heard you say you work with entrepreneurs, how did you get started with doing what you're doing?
You know what? I really didn't realize I was doing it until somebody told me, because I was just natural. I'm a natural encourager. And so people would come to me and for whatever reason, God made me like a wealth of information. So I can find it for you. If you come to me, I could tell you. And someone told me, they was like, you're coaching. And I said, oh, I am. And I was like, I'm just sitting there helping. I wasn't thinking from that standpoint. And so from there, I just started to pursue it. So I went and, got training to be a life coach, and now working on my doctorate degree in leadership, just to help enhance that stuff that's already in me, but just to, put some validation on it. Because, people love validation. They, you can have a lot of information, but if you ain't got that validation behind it, it's almost like, oh no, I can't receive from you. Uh-huh. So I just got that little validation, working on that part of it. And so, Sonia will tell you, I'll share in a heartbeat. Sometimes I have to catch myself because I'm like, I'll share a whole lot and thinking, okay, should I be sharing? Then I just like, oh, I don't care. If they don't use it, that's on them. But I'm going to share the information.
Well, I think it's great because it shows that you're not selfish. You're willing to kind of put it out there, and Absolutely. You will kind of, let people know. And some people, we were just talking about that earlier regarding scientists. Now, they don't want to take their validation. They just want to go, okay, no. But then in other mm-hmm. places, they're like, okay, well, what kind of degrees do you have to validate what you mm-hmm. do? So it's kind of the opposite. So mm-hmm. I can definitely see that. But I think it's great that you are a wealth of information and helping people to recognize what they need to have. Ladies, any questions for Miss Chavonne?
So I want to be the first to say Dr. Stewart.
Thank you.
And congratulate you in advance.
Thank you.
So other than coaching, because mm-hmm. you do that, you are a multifaceted person. Mm-hmm. What are some of the other areas you are passionate about?
In ministry, I'm passionate about prayer. So I have been actively trying to do what God's been sharing for me to do with prayer and encouraging intercessors, because when you're an intercessor, you're really selfless. Your focus is focused on whoever God has you assigned to. So this year I hosted my first prayer retreat in the mountains. And so after that, I heard the Lord speak and say, this is your ministry. But he just telling me tidbits at a time. And the one thing he told me was, you're going to do this retreat annually. So, sometimes you get into procrastination mode because you're tired. You're working, you're doing this, you're doing that. But, when God says, this is this, And like we were learning in a Bible study this week, when God tell you to do, you need to do it immediately. Act on it right then. And so I immediately have the next retreat scheduled for 2022. And the response has been overwhelming to the point where you have to catch yourself to make sure you're still moving in God's guidance, because people will make you do
What they want.
Right.
what they want you to do. Oh, Chavonne, you might need to get 2 houses. I'm thinking, well, God ain't told me to get no 2 houses. So this retreat. So just being obedient and yielding to his voice, and not let the people, because they're excited, make you do something, put more pressure on you that you wouldn't have when you're in God's guidance. So I do the prayer. I've published 5 books. I've been a part of 2 anthologies, and the second anthology is getting ready to come out in September. It's called Do It Right the First Time. It's 33 authors, and we come from our perspective of what we did to become self-published authors. So we're trying to encourage people. This is what you need to do to make sure you do it right the first time, because we all should desire a bestseller. And so I'm excited to be a part of that project. What else did I do? I love to travel. So COVID has really just put a damper on it. But, I've been trying to skirt around. So like going up to the mountains, that's a way to get away from your home life. And then I'm also a co-facilitator. So I do some consulting work part-time as well for a consulting firm in Massachusetts. So I'm busy working at my school. I'll be working with my dean at my school now, so that'll give me more classroom instruction experience as well. So I'm a busy bee.
Yes, you are.
Yes,
I have
you
a
are.
question.
You're making my head hurt, but go ahead.
I know, Chavonne, and I know that this is a prime example of what can happen when you let go and let God. Mm-hmm. We don't give him, oftentimes we don't give him free reign in our lives. Mm-hmm. We want to keep him like this, but he wants us to be like this, because there's so many lives that he want to touch, all these things that he wants us to do that will bring him glory. But my question to you, Chavonne, is what inspired you to start writing books? And what type of books have you written?
Okay, so what inspired me? Well, I've written 3 children's books called The Adventures of Amelia Rose. That's my heart. That's my pride and joy, because the first story that I wrote for Amelia, it was an event that I did myself at the age of 6 that I thought, I was just dynamic. Now, my mom, my dad, what I did, they didn't really think that was dynamic, but I thought it was great. And at that age, I was like, this is going to be a book. Not realizing that I was speaking anything into the atmosphere, but it never left me, because I always felt like it was a great story and I wanted to tell that story. And so it took me being laid off my job, getting caught up in that 2008, 2009, where everybody was losing their jobs and everything. I sat down and I penned the first book. Now it sat on the shelf a little bit longer, but I never lost the dream. I eventually began to act in faith when I started, writing it. And within about 3 to 5 years after penning the first manuscript, it was published. So that's my heart. And I have a great vision for the children's book, because when I was growing up reading, of course, you didn't see a lot of books with African-American kids on the front. So I wanted her she's me. That's who I was as a kid. I was not, no offense, I wasn't a stupid kid. I was very curious, intuitive. I did well, especially in certain subjects. So I wanted to portray that in this little girl, that she's an adventurous little girl. But there are some key aspects. I didn't just want to tell that story, but I wanted to make sure that there was a family structure there. The family structure has been destroyed. The world is trying to shift what God's plan is. But I wanted to show kids you can have a mom and a dad, a male and a female, and, mom and dad in the house. And then I wanted a little brother in my story, because I didn't have brothers growing up. So I said, well, I don't know what it's like to have sisters. So I'm going to write from the perspective of having a little brother. And then she has a diverse group of friends. She has a friend who's biracial. She has a friend who's Asian. She has a boy that's a friend. So I wanted to show that we can live in a world where we can have, a diverse group of friends, even though I didn't really have that growing up, but I know it can be done because I've seen it done with others. And then she gives a reflection at the end. So hopefully each book teaches the kids lessons okay, yeah, we're supposed to obey our parents. This is why we're supposed to obey our parents. So I didn't want to just tell a story, but I wanted to have certain elements to help with the growth of our children. So that series that's my heart. When I pen that, you know, when you physically get that book, you worked all this time to achieve this, and you actually get that book in your hand, that was my pride and joy. So anything after that, just icing on the cake. So I've published a devotion, and I've also written a book for those who are interested in self-publishing called Getting Started. So those are the 5 books that I personally wrote, and then the anthology that I did prior to this upcoming one was dealing with depression, which I have dealt with depression. And so I wrote from my perspective of my journey of recognizing the depression and then overcoming the depression.
Okay, great. Bettina, do you have a question for Chavonne?
Well, first of all, Miss Chavonne, it is good to see you because you had me as a guest on your show for Veterans Day, and I am very impressed with you. I admire all the work that you do. I am currently writing a book, and I'm going to consult with you because I need a lot of help. Yes. And it is funny because I have been thinking about writing a children's book series since Auntie Lynn, which is what Vanessa has. I've been thinking about it for years when I heard about her with the Auntie Lynn, and she was explaining to me about that line. And I was thinking about writing it about my son because he's a different kind of person. So I'm going to be consulting both of you ladies. So I just wanted to say to you that I am absolutely thrilled to have you on the show. And I tell you, I admire you. I really admire you. When I was on your show, your spirit just shines through. And if your spirit shines through in your books and your devotionals the way it does, and me being a guest on your show, guest on ours, it's going to be a bestseller. They're bestsellers already. So Yolanda Adams says it's already all right. So it's already bestsellers.
Thank you. I receive it.
Amen. I do have a question. If you were to talk to someone having done life coaching, as well as your books, what would be your advice to somebody who is trying to make the first steps forward and is confused? I don't know which way to go. A lot of times when you're first starting out, you're very afraid of going the wrong way. And sometimes a little too apprehensive that'll make you just stop and not move at all. So what would be your advice to someone who's moving and stepping into their purpose and just what to do first?
The first step I would say, and I didn't know this early on, was pray about it. Because God has it. Like he says, he knows us before he formed us in our mother's womb. So he already knew who he was going to put in your path, but he's seeking for you to seek out those things that he already has, ordained for you. So I would first tell them to pray about it. And then second, don't be afraid to ask questions, because when I first wrote this manuscript, I had looked out and inquired, and even self-publishing at that time was very expensive. And I said, well, I don't have that kind of money right now. But it took me starting a job and in the break room, and I found out one of my coworkers wrote a book. Word also tells us we have not because we ask not. And so I asked the question. I said, well, how did you do it? And she gave me the information. She didn't hesitate. She wasn't afraid to share, because sometimes people, they be so afraid to share because they think you're gonna do better. They don't see it as a compliment or adding value to you, when you share information. And she shared. Now, if I had not asked, I would have missed that opportunity. I would have had to come around a whole nother way. But because I asked and she shared, I acted on it. And so ask those questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because I've been that way. I was always the kind, I would say people won't help you, but I'll figure it out on my own. But I've had to learn that no, Chavonne, there are some people that are going to help. And when you ask and they feel hesitant, you move on to the next person. So ask that question. And then if you have an idea, put it down on paper. Yes, God created, we have magnificent brains, but if you're a certain age, that brain may not function the way it needs to function.
I'm sorry. I'm waving my church thing in the air. I'm like, you better preach. Go ahead.
It's just real. So, I mean, every school year, the school supplies go on sale. Go buy those 35-cent little spiral notebooks, because I bought mine because I write a whole lot. Buy your spiral notebooks and write it down, because a dream is just a dream. But until it's written, he says, write the vision and make it plain. Until it's put on paper, what good is it in your brain? It's just something that you living with, or maybe one day it happened. But when you start putting some action behind it, you'll begin to see that dream manifest. Think about it. If I hadn't have wrote that manuscript in my downtime, but then I met this girl, what good it was me talking to an editor if I don't have nothing for the editor to do? But I had something for the editor. So write it down. And then after that, allow God to let things fall into place. Don't stress over it. And it will fall into place. As long as you keep that vision in front and remember your why behind that vision, it will manifest.
That's good. Remember your why.
That is so great. And I think sometimes within our communities, when you say you're going to start a business, people kind of look at you side-eyed, like, what you going to do? That type of thing. I know this child from, whatever. And that prevents them from taking steps forward. So to hear that, pray about it first and then ask questions. It's not a bad thing. But people are so afraid to be judged.
Yes.
And how am I going to do, and I've made mistakes and whatever. But that's the reason God chose you, because he's going to get the glory for it. But you've got to take the steps. You've got to not allow your feet to be frozen into the ground. So it's great to hear you say that.
Let me ask a question. Chavonne, how do you manage? What's your time management like in doing everything that you're doing, as far as in school, you're writing the books and your coaching? What does your time look like on a daily basis? Walk us through your time management on a normal day.
That song, some days I have good days and I have bad days. Yes. I have the hills to climb, boy. I be climbing. Because I am at a phase where I'm burnt out because I'm writing my dissertation now. So fortunately, because I work as a graduate assistant at my school where I go to, I'm in the home. So I'm not as per se tired, but mentally tired. And so what I try to do is write to-do lists. So I encourage you, write a to-do list. Now, whether or not you do anything on that to-do list, at least you put something out there that you needed to do for the week, and do it for a whole week. I mean, you could do it daily, but a lot of times you don't have time for a daily to-do list. But if you kind of break it out over the week. So like this week, I knew it was some things I had to do. I have a newsletter that I do for my kids' book. I try to do the newsletter once a month. So I said, okay, I need to work on that. I keep my template the same. I just change out some of the content. What else did I do? I try not, at this point, I'm not taking on a whole lot of projects. I did that anthology because I knew this person. I knew it was quality work. And so I wanted to be a part of this anthology. So the section that I wrote on was just how to writing your manuscript. So that was the section that I did. So that has been the only main thing that I've really been doing. Even with my business, I don't do a whole lot. That's going to require me to do a lot on the back end. So I love being a contractor, going out. You tell me what you want me to do. If you need me to facilitate, then I go and do the facilitation. So I'm not doing a whole lot of the back end stuff that, when you're functioning from your business side. So my thing is, for time management, write you a to-do list, and in your to-do list, still make time for yourself. So, for instance, my mom and I, we have a favorite show that we watch. She'll pre-record it because like Monday nights we have a prayer call, but we know on Tuesday about 7 or 8 o'clock, I'm going to come join her. We're going to watch our favorite show. So I try to make sure that I always incorporate family into everything that I'm doing, but then they also know what I'm doing, and they try to be respectful of that as well. So time management, it can, vary. And because I can be a big procrastinator, because sometimes you just get in your mind, you're tired, you don't want to do nothing. And so when I get like that, even my the person who's helping me with my dissertation will tell me, okay, you need to take a break. And I take their advice. I take that break so that I can step away from the writing.
Well, I'll definitely be reaching out to you. So just look for Look for my numbers.
Okay.
And I will definitely be calling.
I don't know about y'all, but I want to watch the show with her and her mama. What show is it? Are we watching?
Well, we have our HGTV shows, but we watched this show called Longmire, and we just got into it, and it's out in the Midwest and cowboys, and we're like, oh, okay, we're gonna sit here and that just what we enjoy doing. But me and my mom, we always are watching some kind of show. We love old movies, so we sit down and get us an old movie and just whatever, just to spend that time, with my parents.
Right. That's beautiful.
Absolutely. And it's important to be able to do that. But again, noticing that in the midst of everything you have going on, you have that time to be able to dedicate to them. And a lot of people are thinking, God, where is she finding all this time? She doing stuff 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, but when you write, I go back to what you said earlier, the to-do list, right? The to-do list helps you to designate what's going to happen. And again, we have a tendency to think to ourselves, oh, I got it. I don't need to write it down. I'm good. And then we go through depression at the end of the day because everything is not done. So the to-do list is important, and it's not to say that you don't have it, but just to write it out, because then you can see those things that are being done. I know you said you're in the midst of your dissertation and the podcast is on hold, but if people wanted to see your show and see some of the shows out there, how would they be able to find that?
And not just that, how can they contact you to, elicit some of your services?
Okay.
Tell us how we can reach you.
Okay. For the podcast, I'm out on y'all. Let me think about it, because it's so much. I had to learn so much technology. All right. So I'm on Apple and I'm on Google. It's called DNA of Diversity. So you can go back and listen to the first and second season. You can download it on your phone. If you want to reach me in regards to my services, you can email me at hello@dnaofdiversity.com. And what was the last thing you asked me? As far as the show, I am no longer on the She Is Still Dope network. So if you want to watch old shows, you can go out to YouTube and watch those shows. I had to step away, being obedient with God. I did tell him, I said, I enjoyed my show, but if that's not where you want me to be, no problem. I can step away and something else will open up new. So stay tuned. 2022 will be a new year for me, because I'll be graduating. I'm already claiming it. So when things happen in 2022, I'll be doing a whole lot of relaunching some things, because I see, God is taking me into, when we talk about purpose, I see the alignment. So I finally am getting to a place where I'm fully aligned with what I believe he wants me to do in every aspect in the ministry and in the marketplace.
Amen.
Well, Chavonne, we are so happy that you were on the show.
Yes.
You are helping us align some things. You done picked up some clients, as you can see on both sides of me. They're going to be calling you, which is wonderful.
Yes.
We put your email and everything out there. You're going to have some other people stalking you in between. Now, I just want to watch the show with you and your mom. I'm just saying that we do that. We good. But thank you so much for being part of our show. We so appreciate you. We are going to celebrate back with you when you become Dr. Stewart. We are already claiming that. We're letting you know you will be back on the show. We just so thank you. Thank you so much for being part of our show today.
Thank you.
So, ladies, we're about to say goodbye, but we wanted to make sure that we get a chance to say thank you to all our fans who are listening, to those that are new to be part of the show. Make sure you check us out on 2nd and 4th Saturdays at 2 p.m. And we will be here to bring you some more conversations, some more subject matter, some more help here on the Say What podcast. Ladies, y'all want to say bye?
Bye. Be blessed.
God bless you. Have a great week.
Thank you. We'll see you then. You guys take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Chavonne.
You're welcome. Thank you, ladies, for
Get ready for Sonia, Teresa, Vanessa, Bettina. Come on. Say what? Come on. Say what? We got bam, hot topics. We got what the fudge. So bring it home. Say what? Bring it home. Say what? We got questions. We got the answers. You want to cheat? You want to chat? You want to talk about this and talk about that? You're in the right place to hear the facts. Bring it home. Say what? Bring it home. Say what? The ladies are bringing the conversation. So join us on Say What across the nation. Bring it on, y'all. Say what? Come on. Say what? Bring it on. Say what? Come on. Say what? Bring it on.